All right, well, I don't know if we're live yet. I think we are. Looks like it's coming up here. Let's see. I think so. All right, so we're live. Welcome to WhiskyWhistle. This is my little whiskey and cigar night. Now, all right, well, I don't know if we're live yet. Okay, we're live. Better shut that volume off. All right, so now I've got a bit of a delay, and we're looking like, looks like it's pretty good. I think it's a little bit dark, but that's about the best I can do for this time of day. I think I don't need these. Looks pretty cool though, right? I really love Tom Ford sunglasses. I just have to say, they make them really beautifully. These are from a couple years ago, and they were on sale in Korea, so I'm very happy with those. What do you think? Nice, right? So I'll get started here. I have, well, a cigar that I found, and I needed some help with that one, so I went to a local shop. Oh God, you know, the name is, I'm drawing a blank on the name. Thomas Hines, the smoke shop, the cigar shop, tobacconists in Winnipeg. They've been here for a very long time, and they recommended, I asked them, what cigar do you think would go with the Dalmore Cigar Malt? And the fella had actually tried the whiskey, so that was good. And he recommended this one for me. This is Garcia and Garcia, or maybe Garcia and Garcia. Le Bijou 1922. It's a Torpedo, and I think we got to take that off, right? I think. I'm pretty sure. It looks pretty cool, but I think that's not needed. That's actually, I like that, because what I've noticed, if you hang on to cigars for any great length of time, you end up with a little bit of splitting at the end in your humidor, depending on the humidity and all those other conditions. And I'm not perfect with keeping cigars. Anyway, so that's that one. Beautiful style, and well, we're gonna smoke it, and I'm gonna try it together with a cigar malt, since that's what it was made for. And I made a makeshift little cigar holder here. Actually, that's a really old ashtray from my parents, and used an office clip to keep the cigar up. Seems to work okay. And I've got also my pipe, my new pipe that I just bought. That's a Danish manufacturer called, what's it called again? Dansk something or other, made by the biggest maker, starts with an S. Yeah, I forget. Anyway, nice pipe. I do like that. And you've also got my glasses here. My new Peugeot Impitoyable glasses that I quite like. Now, I've had a lot of people that have really come down hard on me because of these glasses. And of course, those people have not even tried the glass yet. So if you're watching, let's see, we had Alex K, and a fellow named Jeff on Facebook. So they really rode me hard about these glasses, and I just have to say, you know what, put your money where your mouth is, get a glass, and let me know your thoughts, rather than just tell me how ridiculous they are and how ridiculous I am for trying a glass like this. But hey, like, this is a whiskey review channel, so I need to try glasses, whether or not they are gimmicky or not. Is this a bit gimmicky? It might be. I'll show you the cooling base in a second here. But yeah, really, Graham, welcome. Graham Young, he says, it looks like a beautiful evening in Winnipeg, and it's a perfect evening. The wind is minimal, so thank God, otherwise this mic would not work very well. Hopefully it's working okay. How's the volume? Please let me know how the volume is. And who else do we have here? We have Loch joining us. Go Habs, welcome. And Jason Coates, great to see you. And unfortunately, Loch Ness can't stick around. He's going out for a walk with his wife. I believe you are in Ontario, so it's a bit later, so you probably just post dinner. Good time for a walk. Wasn't that a Terminator line? Nice night for a walk, or something like that. I think that was Terminator. And I'm still suffering from this cold. It's been nearly a month now, up and down, and I think this is 2 colds in a row. I think it's been a bad summer for summer colds, but pardon me. Try not to make dog's not horking sounds very much. And we have Whiskey Sneerson. Welcome. Great to have you here again. Welcome. All right, so let's get into some pouring, and then we'll get into a little bit of smoking. We'll try that out. And I have been babying that for about a month or so. It was a little bit on the hard side when I bought it, and I don't have a real proper humidor. So let me show you what I did. I've used one of the tin canisters with a near vacuum seal lid. So that's worked well. Hi, Dad. Great. And yeah. All right, hang on a second. This is live.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Serene. Nice to see you. Can you stay inside? Thank you. All right, come out real quick, and then that's it. This is the last time, because unfortunately this is live, so can't have you out here, sweetie. Say hello to everybody.
Hi.
Okay, now get going. All right, sorry about the intrusion. All right, so we have Gregoire who's joined us. Welcome. And did I miss anybody? I think that's it. All right, and Gregoire tells me he's jealous. And don't let everyone just, yeah, well, I know, exactly, right? I mean, one fella, he said to me, well, because you bought it, you're biased. And that makes no sense, especially from a person whose job, here on YouTube anyway, it's not really a job, is to try these things and give you a bit of insight into how they taste, and also in glassware, how they work, or whether they work, or whether it's just garbage. And I would tell you if it were garbage. And my reactions on the show when I unboxed it were completely unedited. They were, well, actually it was a bit edited, but I did not. It was a completely new unboxing. Had never tried them before, and so take my reactions. Don't take them with a grain of salt, because they were honest reactions. Of course. Will this be your favorite glass? Who knows? It's still subjective on that end. All right, so let's get a little bit of whiskey poured, and I have the cooling bases wrapped up here with a bit of ice. It's not going to be as good as straight from the freezer, but I'll just show that to you. It's really, really cold, and it's freezing my fingers. So that's been in the freezer for about 2 hours. Bless you, Dad. All right. Okay, I think I'll try without the cooling base right now first. And I've had that for about half a year or so. The review, I guess it was a bit longer than that, maybe November of last year. So let's pour a little bit of this cigar malt. This has had a lot of oxidation. Now with these whiskey glasses from Bijou, you want to pour much lower than that center base. I don't know if you can see that. So it creates a ring of whiskey. That's pretty cool, right? A ring of whiskey. Set that there. I think I'll get this out of the way. Set that over here. All right, so here's a few of the things I hope we're going to try tonight in addition with the Dalmore. We'll try some Lot 40 from Canada, cask strength. We'll try some Maker's Mark. Pal Joey, he has complained that I haven't covered bourbon for quite a while, so we'll have some bourbon. And I was going to check out the Yamazaki Distillery Reserve, but my wife is Korean and she has told me I can't, because right now South Korea and Japan are having a bit of a trade war. So maybe I won't be trying that. I'm not sure. She thinks she would kill me. She'd probably kill me if I did. And lastly, my new favorite, which is this Tamdu Batch Strength number 3. Yeah, very nice. 58.3% volume. Did I mention Redbreast? I think I forgot. Redbreast cask strength. 12-year-old. 58.2%. So we'll try some cask strength whiskey with a cigar. And I nearly covered all the 5 major whiskey producing countries. But like I say, I think I probably have to sit that one out for a little while anyway. I don't know. I don't know. I know I've got a bunch of friends in Korea that are active on a chat group for WhiskyWhistle in Korea. About 40 people put out about, I don't know, like 600 messages a day back and forth. And I join in when I can. But I'm sure that they all still drink their Japanese whiskey. I'm guessing probably the tariffs will go up, although they are already really high. It's like 170% tax in Korea. All right, enough babble. Let's have a look back and see what's happening here in the chat room. So I think that's pretty much the core range. We have Eric Waite joining. He mentions he has a Rydell Spey Rocks glass. Oh, they don't tip over when drinking in bed. That's a unique function and probably very useful. Let's see. And Greg asks if a Korea distillery is going to be exporting soon. So there aren't any whiskey distilleries in Korea. There are lots of craft soju makers. Soju and Japanese shochu and Chinese Bijou are all very similar, distilled from rice, basically using a sour fermentation. So they take some grain, usually other grain, might be like barley. They take some barley and they make a pressed wet mash, and they leave it out in nature to ferment, and it basically becomes a yeast and enzyme mixture. It's all natural. Then they put that in there with the rice, because rice does not distill by itself, does not ferment by itself. So anyway, so there's some very nice craft soju distilleries. There is some barrel-aged soju that's about 5 years old. That's excellent. But at least as of the last time I checked, no whiskey distilling going on in Korea. And I think there's a few reasons for that. There's some tax reasons for that, and also cost reasons, the 3-year waiting period, etc. Anyway, okay, so I poured a bit of the Dalmore. It's had a bit of time to sit there. And that's just a real nice, clean, mildly sherry. It's not hugely sherried, actually. It's got some wine casking in there too. Some sort of Premier Cru, I believe. Sorry, Gregoire, if I botched that. But it's spicy, it's sweet, it's got some dried fruits. Basically unpeated. I'm not sure whether they use a tiny bit of peat in the drying of their malt, as many of them do. But anyway, really, really nice whiskey. And at 43%, I believe it's 43. Come on now. Oh, 44. Okay, 44%. At 44%, it drinks more like about 47, 48. So very nice for drinking. Now, I do want to try that with the chilling base, see how that works. So we're going to put that there and see how cold it gets. Again, I don't have a temperature gauge, but I'll give that a try. And yes, I've got 2 of those. And maybe I'll set that aside because I think that's in the way. You like that pipe? Anyway, I lost my pipe from Korea. Okay, set that aside. So, shall we light that up? Very, very interesting. Very, very. And as far as the smell of tobacco, I do really like the smell of cigar tobacco. And I love whiskey that features cigar wrapping leaves as a note, or just the smell of an unlit cigar as a tasting note. Now, what I've understood about Torpedo is that rather than cutting it straight, to tilt it to about 45 degrees And, whoops, let's go right there. And then try a cold draw. I think that's a wasp. It's probably after my Dalmore. Try a cold draw and see how it draws. And I'm pretty happy with that, actually. That's about roughly a little bit more than a centimeter in diameter that I've snipped off. We have Frank Castle who's joined, and he loves a good cigar, he says, and he thinks pipes are cool, so that's great. Chris Beaton has come along. Thanks a lot, Chris. Great to see you. And did I miss anybody? If I did, I apologize. I'll get back to that in a minute. And any particular questions? Greg says as he thought Korea does produce beer, that they might do some whiskey as well. And I'm guessing that there are some craft breweries that are run by non-natives. So they're run by expats or by naturalized Koreans. And I would hope that they would have the mind to do a little bit of distilling, whatever the minimum. That's the biggest key for getting into small scale distilling is, what is the minimum requirement by law that you must distill in order to get a license? And I know that in Korea for brewing, it had been very, very high in the hundreds of millions of liters. Does that make sense? Millions of liters of beer. I forget the number, but it was really, really shocking. So there weren't any small breweries. Then they changed it and they lowered it, I think, to something like 50,000 liters per year of beer. And so now there's quite a few of these craft breweries. So I wonder what the minimum production to get a license is for distilling whiskey. And that may be a factor. And they also really love Scotch whiskey, so I don't know how Korean whiskey would do in a Korean market, but the thing is how great it would do in an export market, especially using Korean barley, using Korean oak. There's some beautiful Korean oak. I've seen these there as well. Okay, so I guess we'll light this up. Is that lit? Is that lit? Yep, it's lit. Okay. It's been a long time, so if I look a little awkward, I apologize. It's been very long. It's been about 2 years. I think I've got a pretty good burn there. I love the light, the matches, like Pappy, the Pappy label, right? And as far as cigars go, pretty nice one. And I don't know, do you keep these things on? I know some people do, some people don't. It's on there pretty good. I'll take it off when I get down a little bit more. Well, interesting. Pretty full flavored, not too sharp. And let's see how it does with a bit of the Dalmore Cigar Malt. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining. Love having you here. Sorry it's been so long since I've done a live, but welcome, everybody. What I'll say is, of course, now the temperature is a little bit lower. Some that's not cold. Just a little. And in case you missed my glass review, so that's about $20 Canadian for the glass. And if you order it as a set, that's about 45 Canadian for the coaster, the chilling plate, and the glass. Okay, so let's see here. And every time I record during daylight hours, my kids all want to come out and see what's going on. And I have to move that away because that's really wafting this way. Waft this way! All right, sorry about that. I can't sing, if that isn't obvious already. Okay, I'll set that here for now. Okay. Whew. Not the prettiest smelling smoke, I'll say. Some cigars have a very sweet smoke. This one is a little bit musty, a little bit harsh as far as the smoke smells, but the actual flavor is pretty good. And I think I have to tell my kids to go away because I don't want them to see me smoking here. Well, I apologize. All right, so we've got some more comments from Frank Castle. He says, I seem to be new to cigars. Toast it and let it light on its what? Toast it. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I have smoked a few, probably about 20 to 30 cigars in my life. But please tell me what that means and maybe I'll try that. To let it light on its own. I think you mean so not to draw while I'm lighting it. I guess that's interesting. Could try that. I've got 2 of those. So, and any other interesting comments? So, and please welcome your friends. Tell them to come. And let's see now. So that's been sitting on there for about what? About 10 minutes. Let's just see how the temperature is. It's about 12, 15 degrees. I didn't cool it long enough, only about an hour. But anyway, if you're out in the warmth, probably it would be very nice for you to be able to keep your whiskey, let's say, at ideal drinking temperature. All right, let's see. It's still lit, just barely. Nope. Okay. Yeah, I do like the way it feels in my mouth. I've had some cigars that are very harsh. I think the harshest one that I've ever had was not a punch, but one of the other Cuban brands. I think it might have been Romeo y Julieta. That seemed quite harsh to me compared to the other big brands. I can't remember all their names, but I think one of them was on the name of this one here, Habanos. Anyway, regardless, this one not too harsh, and apparently won Cigar of the Year in 2015 for this Le Bijou, whatever that means. One of the cigar magazines, I think, rated it as such. And it's so easy smoking that I almost feel like I'm not actually smoking a cigar, if that's odd enough. And it's not leaving a real heavy taste in my mouth either. And yeah, it seems to bring out a bit. And Eric's saying his black mottled, it curves a little bit. So, who would know? I would never have guessed. Easy smoking. The outside leaf is round. It seems to me that would be more difficult to make. I guess you'd be able to fit more in a container. At least that was the original idea, I believe. And yes, right. So Eric's talking about getting a lot of lag. Yeah, I apologize. My upload rate is terrible. A very good rate. Let's see what it says here. Stream status, no data, unknown bit rate. Okay, so it says my stream status. Let me have a look at my camera. No, everything looks good. Anyway, well, long story, but I'm renting for now, and the not the best for the not do a live. So anyway, apologize. So GoHabs mentions that he likes the Canadian Glencairn. I've actually got one inside. Yeah, they're very nice. They've got a nice heavy bottom and similar. They're actually very similar to, let's say, the top half of a Glen, and I quite like them. All right, anyway, so that's the Dalmore Cigar Malt with a cigar. And I really have to thank Thomas Hines in Winnipeg, and works very beautifully with that Dalmore. Okay, so let's move that aside. I'm going to pour that all into one for now. And then I think that'll be enough of our Bijou whiskey glass. And let's pour some for. We have Redbreast, Cask Strength, 12-year-old, and Tamdu. So which would you like to see next? Please leave a comment and I'll choose who. Which one would you like to see? Tell me which one, and that's what I'll switch to for the next one. And I'll sit here. Nicaragua, I believe. Garcia and Garcia, Le Bijou, 1922. I like how it's burning, and I noticed that a lot of people really like it when you get a straight burn like that. I think for them it probably signifies that the cigar has been rolled with exceptional care and not just thrown together quickly for the purposes of selling. Let's see how we're doing here. Well, I'm live and looks okay. Let me just listen to that for a second. Yeah, a little bit choppy. All right, so which one do you want to see? A Canadian Redbreast from Ireland, Tamdu, or Maker's Mark, Private Select. So leave me a comment and that's what I'll pour next. All right, so Welsh Toro asks for some Lot 40 cask strength. So that is what I will pour. Welsh Toro, thank you very much for joining. All right, so we'll pour a little bit of that. This is going very quickly. Had I known it was going to be this good, I would have bought 2 bottles. And it was the first one of the Northern series, whatever that's called, to get sold out. So that sold out pretty quickly, actually. They actually still have some of the, I think it's the Gooderham and Worts on shelves here. All right, Graham Young also says Lot 40 all the way. So there we go, Lot 40. Get the Dalmore out of the way. I think I'll get rid of the box. Tidy things up a little here. Oh, I left my coffee in the microwave. Oh well. We'll go without coffee. Oh, such a fresh nose. And I think that if there's a Canadian whiskey that is a world beater, it's this one. And if you have family in Canada, tell them to start looking for the Lot 40 cask strength in the fall of each year. I think that should be coming out again soon. Manitoba seems to get it a bit late. They always wait for this special night that they have in November. It really bugs me because things like the Glenmorangie Private Edition, they save that until November. Meanwhile, the world has already chewed that up and spat it out already. So, beautiful apple, a little bit of mint, some nice herbal notes in there, and an underlying bit of sweetness and some baking spices as well. Beautiful. Let's keep that lit. That's the thing about cigars. If you let them sit too long, then you have to just keep lighting and lighting and lighting them. And it just doesn't seem to be as enjoyable as if you just let it burn once and go all the way. And I don't do rings. Sorry, no rings. Okay, so lot 40, cask strength, together with a little bit of a puff here. Get my glasses out of the way. Again, really accentuates the fruitiness of this rye, and I get a little bit more of a savory flavor coming in with the two combined, and it's nice. Foodquig gave Welsh Toro some, a bottle. Wow, that is amazing. It looks like I'm gonna have to bring a lot of bottles when I visit Scotland, hopefully this year. I'm not sure if that trip is gonna fly. There was a bit of a too short of a period from the point in time when everything got set up until the point in time when they have to decide whether to go or not. So that trip may be delayed. I'm not sure. I sure hope not. The coming weeks will tell for sure. And if you're interested, if you're in Canada, or if you're in the USA, or if you're in Asia, or anywhere in Europe, and you're thinking of going to Scotland, check out the link. I think it's not in this video, unfortunately. I should have put that in there. Oh yeah, there it is. No, it's not. Why is it not here? That's odd. Well, I guess I could add it in. Should I do that? All right, I'll add it in. So the WhiskyWhistle Highland Malt Expedition. Check that out. All right, let me just get this. Such a nice whiskey. And I think that American bourbon and rye lovers, of course, will like this. But I also feel that cognac and Calvados lovers would really, really enjoy this Lot 40. And it's not especially old. I can't remember exactly what the age they said it was, but this one's 11 years old. I mean, the standard bottling is like 4 or maybe 5 years old at best. This one's 11 years old, and it could be 15, it could be 16 even. It's so nice, and it seems better aged than most 18-year-old Canadian whiskeys, to be truthful. All right, let me grab that default, not the branding. Sorry, I'm going to be tied up here for a second. Let me just Here we go. Copy. And then we'll go back and back and back and back. And we'll update it. Yep, and I'm losing viewers as I do this. Okay. You know, I didn't even put a good description in there. My bad. Okay, we'll just add something here. Join me as I smoke a cigar and try a bunch of whiskeys. Period. That'll do for now. No, don't. Ah! Okay. All right. IES. Garcia. And Garcia. Le Bijou plus Dalmore. Sorry guys, hang on. Cigar Malt and more. Save changes. Okay, so that link should now be in there. And I'd love to have you come with me to Scotland. Okay. Live control room. All right, so one last little recap of that lot 40. Just so appley, minty, fruity, sweet. I'm even getting kind of like something kind of like apricots in there. And it really accentuates, not only does this cigar accentuate the whiskey in an interesting way. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but also the whiskey actually influences the enjoyment of the cigar again in a different way. So whether you're having wine or whether you're having beer or whether you're having whiskey or nothing, you'll get different sorts of levels of enjoyment that are, again, just a little bit different from one to the next. I think I'm losing my light here. Now, what I have to say about cigars, and that was, oh, who was the fella? Frank Castle. I think it was Frank Castle, who mentioned that the Punisher mentioned that I look like a cigar newbie. Yeah, I mean, I don't buy that many cigars. I've probably spent less than $200 or $300 on cigars in my life. Cigars are very expensive in Korea. They're not cheap in Canada either. So duty-free is the way to go unless you're on a trip, I guess. This was 30-something dollars Canadian for me, which is very pricey. And I think duty-free, I think I paid $60 for a package of number 5, one of the Cuban cigar brands. And it's out. Dang. Okay, I'll have to tap that. How did it burn out? I just had it burning. Come on. Nope. Okay. We'll leave that for a little while. All right, so that's lot 40. Dalmore was the first one. It's chilling here on my chilling base. in my Peugeot glass. Which has done a nice job of keeping it well below 15 degrees. Might even be closer to 10 now with having the second one to chill it with. And anything new happening here? We have Whiskey Brazil. He's joined. Very nice to see you. Welcome. I really enjoy having you here. And I love your channel. I wish that I could understand more of what you're saying. And I think I mentioned that before, but it'd be really cool if you did at least a couple of videos in English. And he said the sound has improved a lot. Well, yeah, that was my main concern after having some microphone mishaps. In fact, there was a period when I thought that I had my little bud microphone plugged in properly, and I did not realize, due to my ignorance, pardon me, that I needed an extra connection to get that working. And it worked for a while, and then I guess the connection got sketchy and it stopped working. And when I looked back and listened to how it sounded, I thought to myself, no, I have to change this. I cannot grow as a channel with audio like that. So I bought this this blue microphone, Raspberry it's called, which works very well for iPhone, and it also works very well. You can connect it also right into the USB in your computer, which is nice. And then I also bought some Rode little what's that called again? Lanyard? No, that's the drinking thing. What's that called? Anyway, the little lapel mics as well from Rode. Anyway, Rode. I think it looks like a Danish name actually. R-O with a cross. That's called U in Danish. U. I can't say it properly, even though my father's Danish. D-E. Anyway. All right. Oh, and Whiskey Brazil. He mentions he spent 500 American on cigars just this week. You must really love cigars. I probably will try to keep at least a couple on hand if I have a visitor. Something nice, maybe one or two extras. Light that up again. I don't like the relight. Is that weird? So he says just to toast it. Okay, so I'll try just toasting it. Works okay. Anyway, I've had a couple of very nice cigars. Probably one of the best ones was from a buddy of mine who had kept one for a couple of years in his humidor, and he babied them, and one of them was a punch. And the coolest thing about that cigar was the end. The last quarter of the cigar was really lovely. It's nutty, little bit something like pardon me, like a dark espresso, like a really heavy dark espresso, and maybe like a really high cocoa content chocolate as well. So that's quite an interesting cigar. All right, so I think I asked 2,000. So Whiskey Brazil. I forgot your name. I apologize. I think I have mentioned you by name before. I forget your name. He's got 2,000 cigars at home. That's just insane. So you have some that you've kept for probably a number of years. So that's really cool. Felipe, right? Felipe, thank you. All right, so let's go on to the next bottle. So what's going to be next? We have Redbreast Cask Strength Edition. We have Tamdu. Tamdu. Maybe it's Tamdu. What, you know, however the Gaelic is pronounced, Tamdu. And we also have the Maker's Mark. Whoa! I almost broke a glass. Did I chip it? I didn't chip it. Oh man, I got lucky there. I apologize. That must have been very loud. All right, so that's what's left. And again, I'll stop banging around here. I'm not going to review. Sorry, I'm not going to include the Dalmore Distillery. What's that called? Distillery Reserve. That's right from the distillery. In fact, I bought it right there. $45. Can you believe it? Great price. But at my wife's behest, I will not be including that because of the political trade issues between South Korea and Japan right now. All right. So what's next? And Gregoire called it. He says Redbreast. Okay. Let's go into Redbreast. Now this is still a whiskey that I have not yet come to understand very well. And I cannot say that I'm able to fully enjoy this whiskey to the same level that my friends do, the same level that my friend Scott at Scotch Test Dummies does. So that's from the Middleton Distillery, the very same whiskey as Middleton and so many others. That's quite confusing as a consumer, but it's really nice that they all offer so many different styles. Oh right, the spots, green spot, red spot, yellow spot. That's also from the same distillery. This is single pot versus I believe even Jameson is the same distillery, but that is a blended Irish whiskey. All right, so that's 58.2 or 58.4. I said 58.2%, very strong. And the lot 40, by the way, was a little bit lower, 58. No, higher, 58.4. Pardon me. So they're all about the same. That lot 40, though, you might even think it's only 50%. It's very, very gentle on the palate, and that is absolutely a must-buy. As I said, if you have friends coming to Canada or if you are making a trip, please do get that. So the Redbreast. Try it before I have another puff of the cigar. To me, my barrier in coming to enjoy this is the big, massive wall of very, very piquant spice that I'm getting from that. Big ginger and really, really strong pepper. So when I taste that, I have trouble really getting into it because it's just so overpowering for me. So I'm hoping that that I'll get to enjoy this as time passes. And yes, Gregoire mentions I can put some water in, and I've tried that. And I still have not really gotten over that initial huge wall of spice that I get in Redbreast, Redbreast 12 and 15. I have the 15 downstairs as well. The nose is nice enough. So dry, so astringent. Anyway, let's see how that does with a cigar. Maybe the cigar will help, maybe it'll hinder. It makes the cigar taste like I don't know, like candy almost. So that's neat. again, adds a slight savory note to the experience of that Redbreast. And yes, I'm going to add some water, and I'm going to do this lowbrow style with my cap, which is about 3 milliliters. Personally, I feel it's a shame if I can't enjoy the whiskey as it was made. So I'm going to keep trying with that and see how it does when I'm nearing about the halfway mark. And I've had this bottle now for about 6 weeks, maybe. Set that there. Put that down here for now. Clean up my table a little bit. All right, so back into the chat room. And Gregoire mentions that some of the batches are very dry. So maybe this is just happens to be a very, very dry batch. Maybe I'll have to try a different batch. This is, by the way, batch number B1/17. So if you know about the batches, leave a comment, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this recorded live. All right. And again, if the feed happens to be a bit choppy, I apologize. I don't have great internet connection here, unfortunately. I'm going to try to get that changed in the fall and see what happens. Welsh Toro also indicated that he also was disappointed with Redbreast 12 CS. He thought it was too hot and the distillate was rushed. And I wonder about that. Anyway, so just a quick rundown of who we have here. We've got Welsh Toro, we have Donner Pass Whiskey who's joined. Welcome, thanks for coming. Jason Coates has joined in. We have Gregoire from Greg's Whiskey Guide. Loch Ness is here. Whiskey Brazil, that's a star YouTuber who's joined. Really appreciate you coming and checking this out. We have Graham Young, who is a huge patron of mine through Patreon. Graham, I really appreciate that. We have Gohabs, who has been working on. He's been commenting on my reviews for a very long time, and I really appreciate that. Graham Young asked me about my cycling endeavors, and a funny story about that. I lent my bike to my cousin's boyfriend. It was supposed to be for a few days, and it ended up being over a month. So I lost a month of riding. Anyway, we also have Eric Waite who's joined, which is really nice. Frank Castle. We have Chris Beaton. Some of them may have come and gone. Hopefully they'll come back if they left. Whiskey Sneerson. And I think that's about it. So anyway, really great group of people. Really appreciate all of you coming out and checking out this very rare live. For me lately, lives are a very rare occurrence. I think this is out again. Yep. Less talking, more smoking. Okay. So let's see how this Redbreast does with water. And again, I really wonder about the batch. And I may have to find out from some friends of mine and fellow YouTubers about what batches they tried and see if they have any. I may have to try and send some out and see if some of them will send me a sample of their batch. Pardon me. Okay, now with water, the smell, the nose especially, has really ramped up its toffeed, slightly salty, which is interesting. Toffeed, slightly salty, slightly bake shop sweet pastry nose, and that's really nice. Beautiful, very, very lovely nose. And this is the first time I've noticed how interesting this can be. I think that's because of how much time it's had to aerate and breathe in the bottle. I'm about a little bit less than halfway through the bottle there. And did I understand that they've just recently rebranded the Redbreast? So the new bottles will no longer look like this, so that's interesting. There's so many rebrandings going on right now. Glenlivet has rebranded. Redbreast, Fettercairn, Jura, Isle of Mull, Tobermory has rebranded. Really, not really. What's the word? Core group of people. It's drinkable, but I still find it just very sharp. Liking. Love it if I could get other batches to check out. The Redbreast, because it leaves your mouth so dry, and this batch leaves your mouth so dry and sharp, really makes that cigar very smooth. I don't paper pencil sharpener to make my stand for the cigar. Set that back over here. I've got one more, and I think I want to share one with a buddy of mine, so that's what I'll do. And Loch Ness comments, and we are well beyond the hour. We're at 62 minutes. I think I'll try to keep this to about 90. Lots of spinning wheels. Why is that? Huh. Variable resolution stream. I don't know what to say. Sorry, fellas, if the stream is not very good live. I do apologize. Smoky in my face. Set that back over there. All right. Anyway, fellas, sorry about that. Hope it's okay now. All right, and Graham Young says, "Cheers, Mark. Thanks for sharing tonight." Sorry, fellas, if the stream is not very good. I do apologize. Well, I'm seeing things need returns for you. So what should I have next? We have 2 left to try, and that is Tamdhu and Maker's Mark Private Select. So which would you like to see next? Please leave a comment. And the first person who comments, I will pick whichever whiskey you choose. Spinning wheel, as you say. Okay, and Welsh Toro says Tamdhu should be next. So we'll go with Tamdhu, and that's 58.3%. This is batch number 3. Get that poured. This really is my newest favorite daily go-to. The price is amazing, and the quality is, I almost want to say that the quality of this far exceeds that of Macallan Classic Cut, and about on par with some of the better Aberlour, Abuna bottlings. Okay, we'll set that away. Maybe what I'll do is go like that. We had Dalmore first, we had Lot 40 second, Redbreast third. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, all right, so we've got Tamdhu. This is a Speyside single malt. It is all sherry, exclusively matured in sherry casks. I will have a review of that up probably early September, maybe even late what's the word? August. Late August, pardon me. All right. Beautiful candied sherry nose. It's like gummy worms and like a raisin reduction sauce. Very, very nice. I really, really like how this smells. And that's going to go exceptionally well with this cigar, I believe, which may have also lost its light. Nope. Let's see if I can get one right to the camera. Sorry, guys. Don't mean to blow smoke in your face. All right, so I guess we're starting with a cigar now. Well, I have to say this is actually the whiskey of the night that actually does not go very well with this cigar. And I wonder how well it'll go with any cigar. It's taken something that was initially quite sweet and very flavorful and made it a little bit sharp and just unimpressive. The Mash and Drum has joined. Welcome. Thank you for coming and checking this out. Welsh Toro asks, gummy worms. Yes, if you get a package of gummy worms, the Haribo jelly candies that look like worms, and you have a package and you open it up and you stick your nose in there and you give it a whiff. Some of the sherried whiskeys really remind me of that first smell of that kind of jelly candy when you open up the package. No, I think Tamdu is not the greatest whiskey for this cigar. Maybe there's a different cigar that'll work well with it, but this seems to be not the whiskey you're looking for. And I should be using distilled water. I'm using some spring water, so that'll have a slight effect on the whiskey because of its alkalinity. But boy, it just smells. I love the way this smells, and I'm so happy to have this. And I'm going to give this a malt whiskey hug. Malt hug. The whiskey hug. I think I'm probably the only person who has hug bottles that isn't an actual person that has a problem with alcohol. Yeah. Very, very proud of you. Yep. Very lovely. Okay. All right, we'll give that one little bit of another taste here with water. Oh, Dram Dude has joined as well. Welcome, Dram Dude. Been a long time. Thank you for coming and checking this out. We've got Dram Dude. We've got Welsh Toro. We have Mash and Drum that's joined. Donner Pass Whiskey has come along. He also wanted the Tamdu. And what I'm smoking tonight is Garcia and Garcia, or Garcia and Garcia Le Bijou, which was apparently Cigar of the Year by some magazine for 2015. And the fella at Thomas Hines Tobacconists in Winnipeg thought that especially I should have this one. Don't want the smoke in my eyes. And as every cigar I've ever had, I find that I enjoy the flavor of the cigar as it gets burnt down to about halfway and down to the nub. Are you part of the nub club? If you are, then you know what I'm talking about. And we have Richie Z who's joined. Richie Z, thanks for coming. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that you're here. And Richie Z, you should check out his Instagram account. He puts a lot of very, very cool whiskeys up on Instagram. So check out Richie Z on Instagram. And he's also been a big supporter of WhiskyWhistle, I want to say, for over 2 years. So that's really cool. And a lot of people here are Welsh Toro almost from the beginning. I want to say the very first year I had some comments coming from Welsh Toro. So that's really cool. Loch Ness also for roughly 2 years or more. Dram Dude, I think also right from the beginning. So we've got a good collection of people here. And Gregoire from Greg's Whiskey Guide, especially in the last 12 months, we've become very, very friendly. Also, roughly about 2 years since we've been familiar with each other. Please check out his blog and his YouTube channel. Greg, is your YouTube channel just called Greg's Whiskey Guide? And I think also the blog is called Greg's Whiskey Guide. Is that correct? Well, a slight improvement with water added, combining tamdu with a cigar. I didn't like how it worked together with the cask strength, the batch strength of that whiskey. So this cigar paired with tamdu didn't work very well. I love this whiskey on its own, hence I gave it a malt hug. And the cigar also seems to be one of the better cigars that I've had in my life. So we're doing pretty well here. So that was tamdu. And that leaves simply one whiskey. And I apologize that I'm not going to pour the Yamazaki tonight at my wife's insistence. Again, you can check that out. But Korea and Japan are not exactly very friendly at this particular moment in time. And even, I want to say, well, since the Japanese occupation of South Korea and North Korea, I guess at the time, that started in 1911, and the occupation ended at the beginning of World War II, I think, somewhere around there, 1940, yeah, and the end of World War II is when the occupation ended. So Korea has a slight love, strong hate relationship with Japan. And I hate to bring up politics, but check it out. Look at the recent world news about the Korea and Japan trade war that's going on right now. So I apologize that I won't get into that one. So let's pour a little bit of Maker's Mark. Where is it? Here it is. Maker's Mark Private Select, 55% ABV, 55.05. Now that's funny. So they rated their ABV down to the down to 5/100ths%. Pretty shocking. I've never seen anything rated all the way down to half. No, not even a half percent. Sorry, what's it? 5/100ths%. Okay. This one is a very unique story This, pardon me, it has a very unique story. They've used a bunch of unique staves, and they've given them unique names. So we've got Baked American Pure 2, Seared French Cuvée, they've called it, Maker's 46, Roasted French Mocha, and Toasted French Spice. Only one of the Toasted French Spice and 3 of the Seared French Cuvée. So every store will have a slightly different version of this private select, and they put it in the same bottle as Maker's Mark 46. I guess I'll have to move over now. Okay, that's the one we're having right now. And let's check it out. Whoa. Okay, so lots of comments coming in. Sound is good, but picture is frozen. That's terrible. Probably what's going to happen is that YouTube and their monkeys that turn the wheels, and they do turn the wheels because you can see the monkey sometimes in their marketing. So they will take the feed and put it together with the audio and put it back together. So the actual non-live might actually be more complete than the live. And again, that's because of my very, very poor connection, which is only about 5 megabits per second, but sometimes down to 3, and sometimes it goes down to 0 because it sucks. And there's nothing I can do about it. I do apologize. Sorry, guys, but that's the best I can do. And Dramdude says, yep, I just don't comment much. I think we've chatted more on Instagram. That's more my thing, so that's cool. I'll have to do some, maybe some lives on Instagram. What do you think about the Instagram lives? And what else? Richie Z shouting out hellos to everybody. And Graham can't seem to get the video streaming again. Huh. Let me look at that. All right, well, I hope that's returned. Let's see, I'll try to refresh it and see what happens. Okay, so we've got Maker's Mark Private Select, which for a bourbon smells very, very approachable as a Scotch whiskey lover. So this particular Maker's Mark will be something that I think any single malt whiskey lover, especially single malt Scotch whiskey lover, can enjoy purely on the nose for sure. Definitely it's a bourbon. You'll notice it as a bourbon when you smell it, but it actually has a very, very complex nose with a lot of things going on, and it's great. Probably one of my favorite noses amongst this selection. Probably Lot 40 is my favorite. And this might be number 2. Just on the sheer nose for tonight. And I think it'll probably do very well if I use the Peugeot Impitoyable number 5 tasting glass, whiskey glass. And I won't pour it in there because it's got a little bit of remnants of Dalmore in there. But it's a little bit strong coming from the Glencairn. I probably should have poured a little bit less so that it had a little bit more length to go to my nose. But again, some very fresh orchard fruit orchard fruit scents coming through. One taste before I get back to the cigar. Such a gentle nose for the strength. 55%. This also really comes off as more like high 40s. And I got to thank this beautiful night in Manitoba. Not a cloud in the sky. A couple of wispy ones over there. Zero wind at all. The leaves are not moving at all. Somehow the mosquitoes are staying away from me. Maybe they don't like the alcoholic vapors, I wonder. My neighbors, nobody's doing any yard work. There's no lawn mowing going on. Somehow I've really lucked out here tonight. And the only limiter here is my internet connection. And I do apologize for that, fellas. And Graham Young tells me that it seems good now, Mark. So that's good. Richie Z also says it's good. Thank God. What can I do? I can't do anything but just go with what I've got, right? So, all right. Now this is surely out. So I'll have to tap it again. Surely out. You know what? I like doing this. That burn there. Maybe that's not good. I don't know. But very nice cigar. All right, with Maker's Mark. Wow. The Dalmore was good. Lot 40 was also good. What was next? Dalmore, Lot 40, Redbreast. Redbreast, I'm not loving this batch. That might be what it is. I hope so. I'll try again. I will for sure try again. Tamdu did not work very well with the cigar, but this Maker's Mark seems to be the winner. Not so much for the cigar. You don't really get anything from the cigar other than just the whiskey. All I'm tasting is the whiskey. But coming from the cigar and checking out the whiskey, seems an ideal match. So, folks, Maker's Mark Private Maker's Mark Private Select, at least for Manitoba, because it'll be different no matter where you are. From any store will have a slightly different version of the Private Select. And this Garcia and Garcia Le Bijou 1922 Torpedo. Whew, that was I did not smoke that. Whoops. Ow, ouch. That seems to be the best one of the night as far as to enjoy with a cigar. Oh, and Richie Z actually says he's out of his Private Select, so he just poured Maker's 46. Well, I bet you that'll do very well with this as well. And if you happen to be a cigar lover and you haven't tried Le Bijou 1922, I highly recommend it. And that's for me coming as a fairly, yes, not a real expert of cigars for sure. I have had pretty nearly every one that's been made in Cuba and a few from other areas, quite a few different brands, but it has been a while for me. Pardon me. But real easy smoking cigar for sure. My Father Le Bijou 1922. Very, very nice. Beautiful color. I love the dark wrapper. And I guess that's just the toasting of it that gets it so dark, I hope. All Nicaraguan. The wrappers from Nicaragua, apparently from Cuban seed. The fill tobacco also is Nicaraguan. And I think as a person who's not hugely into cigars, like our friend Felipe from Whiskey Brazil, who has 2,000 cigars in his collection, as a newbie, I would say that's a definite buy, and it's absolutely worth $30 in Canada, where the price of tobacco is quite high, unfortunately. And Welsh Toro says, "Hey Mark, go on, have a little slurp of the Yamazaki. She won't know. She might not know. She might not know. But what if she did? What if she watched it? What would she do?" As you see me moving these to make room. Now, I can't be very political. So, to my wife, if you happen to watch me pour this, I apologize. But you have to remember that doing what we do, doing what I do as a whiskey YouTuber, as a whiskey tuber, a hefty pour of Yamazaki Distillery Reserve. This one is straight from Japan, as I said, right from the distillery, and almost no English on there at all. And it cost me $45 at the distillery. It goes for about 200 Canadian in Korea, if you can still find it. I don't know, because of the political troubles. But anyway, that was Welsh Toro. You asked for it, you got it. In the name of science. In the name of science, you're right. Amnesty is granted, says Richie Z. Well, I guess I'll put that there. Okay, so that's what we're tasting right now. 43%. So this is going to be a bit of a letdown coming after all of these cask strength whiskeys. It has a slightly sulfuric nose, but in a good way. And I think an interesting mix of casks. I'm thinking probably bourbon and a bit of sherry. Not much sherry though. Probably some second fill Mizunara, I'm guessing. And maybe some Japanese umeshu wine casks. Supremely fruity. But fairly straight up the middle as far as whiskey goes. And Yamazaki is Suntory's relatively unpeated whiskey. The Hakushu is the peated one. But beautifully rich, fruity, lightly spicy. No astringency at all. Almost no. Practically no astringency at all in the nose, in the palate, pardon me. minimal ginger, yes, a bit of nutmeg, a little bit of maybe just a slight bit of cinnamon there, freshly ground cinnamon. And if it's ginger, it's that pickled variety. And Welsh Toro is going to have a slurp of Yamazaki 12 with his malt made. Well, that's great, because that is, I don't know, probably for Yamazaki, that's the best value of all is the 12. The 18 is hyped up. It's very, very expensive. About $500 is the going rate for Yamazaki 18, and I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth 60% more than Macallan 18, which in turn I don't believe is worth let's see, 50% price increase over most 18-year-olds, which are roughly, let's say, in the $150 to $200 Canadian price range. So the Yamazaki 12, I think, also goes for up to about $200 Canadian, $150 ideally. I think in USA, where it's actually readily available, I think you can get it for about 110 US, which is very, very good. But when you think about it, for an American, $110, you can get almost any number of 18-year-olds. You can get a lot of cask strength, great cask strength whiskeys. So it's hard to say whether the value is there. Pardon me. Oh, I think you heard that, as a price point. But the 12 is definitely very, very nice for the range. 18, yeah, it's lovely, but how do you even go about what's the word I'm looking for? I couldn't even justify paying that price for the 18. If you do get to Japan though, and you go to the distillery, then you can try the 18 there for I think about $10 or $12 for a half-ounce pour. In fact, I think they pour 20 milliliters. That's a really, really good value and a great way to try it if you end up in Japan. You can also try the 25-year-old for, I think, $25. Unreal. The 25 is unreal. Unreal. Okay, so we're gonna try that with the cigar, and I think we're gonna be out again. Yep. Light that up again. Now I'm running out of battery. So Glengoyne 18, 159 locally. Unreal, right? Glengoyne is such a heavy hitter in terms of price to quality. It becomes so nutty. And the cigar actually stays very flavorful. In fact, a little bit spicier than initially. This is actually a very subtle, smooth cigar. And the Yamazaki Distillery Reserve, pardon me, becomes very nutty and supremely interesting. Very, very nice. I think these are my two favorites, with the Dalmore as Dalmore and Lot 40 tied for third. Tied for, I guess that's tied for fourth, right? So first, second, maybe even tied. I think that's even a tie. a tie for second place, and then Dalmore and Lot 40 cask strength from 2018. That's the 11-year-old, a tie for fourth, and then Tamdu and Redbreast, the losers of the night. What a perfect night for a cigar. Ah, and I've been waiting for this. I've been trying to do an evening, late afternoon, evening review outside. Either it's been too windy. Some of my reviews from early summer were just marred with nasty wind sounds because I don't have a dead cat coverage for the mic. And then I spent the rest the middle of the summer. I did all my reviews inside downstairs. Graham Young says he might need to look in the States again for the Yamazaki. Yes, you should. And the malt made is me. High five, Welsh Toro. That's really nice of you. Really appreciate that. Flying to Japan is probably cheaper than buying a bottle. You know, depending on where you are, if you can get a flight to Japan at a discount and spend a couple of nights there in a decent hotel, check out the distilleries, buy as many bottles as you can carry home, and declare them as you should. But I mean, I'm not going to police you if you don't. You will probably end up paying for your trip, both in the Japanese whiskey you get, in the they even get some Taiwanese market whiskeys there. And I apologize, my voice, I'm losing my voice here. This has been a big issue with me this summer. One night at the Winnipeg Whiskey Club, which I'm I'm organizing. Oh man. I have to have some water. Pardon me. Hang on a second, fellas. Oh. All right, well, we're down to the last few minutes because I'm down to 10% or less of power in my my iPhone. So coming to the end here. But absolutely, if you get a flight for a few $100s to Japan, to Tokyo, or to Osaka, ideally, because Yamazaki is closer, and spend 3 or 4 nights, get to the distillery, maybe go up to Tokyo and check out the what's that called? Fuji Gotemba Distillery would be really cool, I think. Or a little bit to the south of Osaka to the White Oak Distillery. You would have yourself one heck of a trip, and do some shopping because there's all kinds of shops and they stay open late there. I had such a great time in Japan with a buddy of mine, Sehun, from Korea. Sehun, if you're watching at some point, I miss you, buddy. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so great value. The cost of the hotel will be very high. The food will be, you know, a little bit pricey, but the whiskey is just cheap as chips there. And Richie asks how Rocky's doing, and he's doing so great. Maybe I should call him real quick. What's happened here? Let's see. Rocky, come. Rocky, come on, buddy. Come. Come. You come. You come. Come on. Come. Come. Come on. Come. All All right, so this will have to be the goodbye because I don't know when I'm gonna run out of steam here with the battery. Rocky, say hi to everybody. Oh, you say hi, hello. There he is. Rocky's doing so well. He's loving Canada. We've got a great vet looking after him. He's had some skin issues. He also got bit by a neighbor's dog, tisk tisk, and he actually nearly died. So he's doing very well. Anyway, good job, buddy. All right, so in summary, very nice cigar. This Garcia and Garcia Le Bijou 1922. You like that? Oh, he likes it. And the winners of the night for whiskey were Dalmore Cigar Malt, which does very nicely together with that that cigar. Lot 40. The greatest Canadian whiskey in modern times. And then we had Maker's Mark, which really shone with this whiskey. That was the Private Select. And last but not least, the Yamazaki. And Japan, you better shape things up with Korea and make good with that relationship because you need to, because you need Korea as a trading partner. And lastly, the Yamazaki Distillery Reserve. Cheers, guys. Becomes so nutty. That's so interesting. Well, I won't check to see which one you like best, but it sure is nice having you here, Rocky. And everybody's saying hello to Rocky. And Richie Z says this has been such a soothing live, and I really appreciate that. It's been soothing for me too. It's really great hanging out with you guys and getting a little bit more, you know, I mean, it's hard to be fully natural when you're trying to create content for YouTube. And I think Scott at Scotch Test Dummies does a great job of really showing his true self. So does Rob over at Whiskey in the Six. And they excel at just being themselves. I don't know. It's like you wanna kind of create really interesting content sometimes, and you get so excited, and you try again and again and again when you're recording, and you should see how many minutes of recording time I cut away to get things going. But here, when you're doing it live, there's no choice but to just be yourself and to engage somehow with the people that are joining and make it fun, make it interesting. And I hope I did a good job of that. Sure helps having you, handsome guy. Hey, Rocky? Rocky, you handsome boy? Yeah. He's got his new tag from the city of Winnipeg. He likes his tag. He actually doesn't like it when I take it off. It's really funny. See? Yeah, see, he wants it. That's mine. Why did you take it? All right, well, I'll put it back on later. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Really, and gals, if you're watching in the end. After the fact, ladies, if you're joining, that's really great. But gentlemen, all of you who joined tonight, really a real pleasure having you here tonight. I think we've had pretty much everybody that I've come to know very well recently. Of course, the last comment here from somebody fairly new, Winelight Media. You've been following the channel for roughly about a year, even 2 years possibly, and you've left a comment here that you've joined and that you thought that I can't even speak, that you've thought I've done a really great job tonight. So I really appreciate that. That's such a great comment. So thanks a lot. And I wonder, maybe your name is his name Brad? Winelight Media. Anyway, really appreciate it. And for everybody who's watching, first of all, cigars tobacco, is it an evil? I think when you're trying something that's all natural and you're doing it on occasion when the mood is right, something like this on a nice summer day, I think that tobacco in the form of especially nice cigars or quality pipe tobacco that hasn't been heavily cased with weird things. I'll do that another day, but there's nothing in there, Mark. What are you doing? Just to look at it, right? I think it can be at least not the worst possible thing that you can do, and a great way to enjoy yourself. So anyway, that's my thoughts on quality tobacco. I'm not going to speak to other types of tobacco, although I think snuff is also something very interesting. That's just pure tobacco that's been micro-ground. That's really interesting. And I see that one of my favorite Scottish actors, who I tried to emulate in my what was it, the whiskey distillery pronunciation guide, the Scotch pronunciation guide, Brian Cox. He really enjoys his snuff, so I might have to try that someday. Anyway, thanks a lot, folks. So great to have you here. Nice to have Rocky out, and thank you to Mother Earth for creating this great night as an eagle flies overhead. That's really interesting. I guess you can't see that though. Take care, guys. I apologize. I'm a little bit giddy with excitement here, and I've had a great time. And so I'll say goodbye and take care. Take care, everybody. All right. Good night, all. We'll see you for the next one. Bye now. Good job, buddy.